more often than not, some of the best salespeople in any organization are taking a lot of shortcuts in order to get to where they need to be. This might seem a little heavy, but I certainly think it's worth talking about. Welcome to my home office. I appreciate you being here. I recently released a book. It's called The Evolved Leader. If you haven't picked it up, I would love for you to do so and give me some feedback. So shameless plug. All right, let's get that out of the way and talk business. If you've seen the title of this video, it says, should you fire your best salesperson? And that was designed to spark some thought. In all my years of sales training, leadership training, there are usually 3 to 5 people in every environment, in every sales environment, who I would consider the superstar, rockstar salespeople. If your quota is 10 transactions per month, these people are closing 20 transactions per month pretty regularly. And then you have a good average and a good mix of a lot of other characters and different personalities, people who are averaging quota, coasting, not necessarily making a name for themselves or getting shout outs or anything, but not in trouble either. They have a very nice, consistent career. And then towards the bottom, you have the people who are struggling and bringing up the rear and usually aren't hitting quota. And we're gonna address all 3. More often than not, and I think you know where I'm going with this, more often than not, some of the best salespeople in any organization are taking a lot of shortcuts in order to get to where they need to be. If your quota is 10 transactions per month and somebody's averaging 20 on a pretty regular basis, there is a very, very high likelihood that they are not setting the proper expectations and making a lot of promises that your organization can't deliver on, and they're also affecting people around them as a result. I'm going to put a chart up on the screen and I want you to follow with me. We're going to go step by step, so I want to explain this to you from a mathematical standpoint. We have salesperson A, this is the rock star. We have salesperson B, this is the average quota hitter. And we have salesperson C, this is the struggling sales rep. Salesperson A, like I mentioned before, is closing 20 transactions a month on a 10 transaction quota. From an annual perspective, that's 240 sales. Salesperson B is averaging right around quota, 10 transactions on a 10 transaction quota, and they're doing 120 per year. And then you have salesperson C, who's probably struggling a little bit. Let's just say they're bringing in 6 transactions a month on a 10 transaction quota. They are at 60% of their number, and they have 72 sales on the year, putting them in the red. So salesperson A, we mentioned, are taking a lot of shortcuts in terms of creating proper expectations. Again, this shouldn't surprise you by any means. If you've been in sales for a really long time, you'll recognize this kind of behavior. People who are taking a lot of shortcuts, and the clients that they are delivering a product to are being sold something that they didn't get delivered on. But the reason they're being sold something they didn't get delivered on was because the salesperson just wanted the instant reward, the instant commission, the instant gratification, and the shout outs from your company. So if salesperson A is selling 240 transactions a year, but is only retaining approximately 10% of their clients, which is actually quite normal from superstar salespeople, believe it or not. I've done a lot of consulting, I've spoken to a lot of organizations, and this is something that is very, very common. Superstar salespeople have usually the lowest retention. We'll get there, don't worry. So salesperson A has 240 transactions a year, but retaining at 10%. That means they are left with 24 happy clients on the year. And that's the reason I'm calling them happy clients, is because those are the clients that have stayed on at least a year or longer. That's how I define a happy customer. Now, salesperson B is a more ethical salesperson. They are setting proper expectations, and they are selling for the sake of continued relationship building, not just for the sake of quick cash and quick commission and quick recognition. And their retention is 40%, which is far better. Now, as you can see on the screen, a 40% retention rate from 120 transactions on the year is 48 remaining happy clients. Salesperson B is in fact your all-star salesperson in your organization, but most organizations aren't celebrating this. Here's the worst part. Salesperson C, who is also selling in a very ethical way, but not necessarily bringing in as many transactions. So hypothetically, again, we'll say salesperson C is bringing in 72 transactions a year and retaining at a 40% rate, and they are keeping a little over 28 of their clients happy for the year. It has now become extremely evident that salesperson C, even though they're not bringing in as many transactions, is outperforming salesperson A in terms of happy clients. Now, I want to be clear here. I am not making a case for shouting out salesperson C in company-wide meetings and taking salesperson C to President's Club and fancy dinners and putting their name on posters and plaques and trophies and things like that. That's certainly not the case I'm trying to make. The case I'm trying to make is that we should be doing that to salesperson B. Salesperson B is your consistent quota hitter, and because they are selling from a more ethical standpoint, creating a better experience for their clients, and in turn creating a better experience for your company, and in turn creating more referrals later down the line, it should be salesperson B who gets the trip to President's Club, who gets taken out to fancy dinners, who gets the huge commission checks, who gets all the recognition, their name on plaques, posters, jerseys, whatever it is that your company does. This is the person that is in fact keeping your company afloat, especially during tough times. What we are seeing is that salesperson C is the one that's quickest to get fired, and salesperson A is the one that's quickest to get promoted. When salesperson A gets promoted, the one that's selling without ethics, this now creates a very dangerous ripple effect for your organization, where this person is teaching others on their own techniques. That can be extremely toxic. Now, these are one-off scenarios. I'm certainly not blaming every superstar salesperson that has ever lived of selling without ethics. What I am saying is that every once in a while, there's a person in your organization that is doing this, and instead of rewarding them, they should actually be sat down and talked about creating proper expectations. And when people around the organization see that, for you as a leader, that looks really, really good, because you can tell the difference between wrong and right. When that person continues to get praise and shout outs, it sends the message to the rest of the organization that this is the behavior we want to see more of. But it's not the behavior that we want to see more of. It's the behavior we want to see less of. Salesperson B is the behavior that we want to see more of. I'm trying to plant the seed and let leaders around the world know that it is okay to sit down with your top producing salesperson, at least on paper they're top producing, and let them know that they are the ones that need to evolve as an individual. And when you do something like that, you're sending the right message, and the organization sees you sending the right message, and people will praise you for it. And I'll end with this. Salesperson C, as we've noticed, is not the worst person on your team or on your sales floor or in your office. Salesperson C, who is selling with ethics and a moral compass, if we just sit down and work with them a little bit more and try to help them get one step closer to hitting quota, because their retention is so fantastic and they're keeping their clients happy longer, they are the ones who are 1 inch closer from being an all-star, superstar salesperson in your company. To fire this person could be a drastic, tragic mistake. So my message is super simple. Don't celebrate the quick reward, the quick commission, and the quick sale. Celebrate how we're treating people long term and how we're retaining our clients long term. A salesperson that can retain is far better than the salesperson who's getting the quick buck.